The story of Persephone and Hades is an extremely important legend in Greek myth. It tells the story of how the seasons, winter, spring, autumn, and summer, came to be. The story goes that Persephone was picking flowers one day in the garden that her mother, Demeter, goddess of grain and the harvest, had grown for her. Persephone loved to spend time in that garden and used to pick flowers every day. They bloomed happily at her touch. Hades had ventured up to the overworld one day, and he happened to come across Persephone doing her daily flower picking. Hades had thought that she was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen and made a plan to marry her on the spot. Persephone, however, knew nothing of this plan and was one day entranced with a yellow narcissus flower. She asked her playmates for help to pick it, and as they pulled it out of the ground, the earth opened up around Persephone, swallowing her into the underworld. Demeter was distraught at the descent of her daughter, so distraught that she could no longer nurture the earth as she once had. The plants began to die as all the goddess could focus on was trying to find where her daughter had went that one fateful day. She searched the far ends of the earth, the leaves turning from red to yellow to brown before they eventually began their own descent from the branches that had once given them life. Instead of blooming everywhere she walked, the flowers wilted and died at the lack of nurture Demeter was giving the soil. There was nothing left in the goddess except a hole where her heart was. She did not even have time to give herself life. Persephone was lonely in the underworld. She didn't know anyone except for Hades, her captor. He tried desperately to get her to feel more comfortable, to fall in love with him, but she wouldn't. Why would she? She felt betrayed and she missed her mother constantly. Hades and Demeter came to a compromise as she was letting the world die. The compromise was as such. Persephone would return to the overworld for 8 months out of the year. The rest would be spent in the underworld with Hades. During this time, Persephone had actually grown quite fond of the underworld's master. He was gentle and kind to her, and after all, she had no one else to lean on. Before she left for the warmer months, Hades fed her 4 pomegranate seeds out of fear. Feeding her the divine food from the underworld would compel her to return to him for those 4 months out of the year. Returned to her mother, Persephone felt happy, but she also felt as if she was missing something. A sort of longing for her captor, Hades, who had held on to her for the rest of eternity. Persephone eventually reciprocated Hades' love for her, the two reuniting after the long summer months for the winter, where the world died, but where she felt most alive.